All right, welcome aboard, ladies and gentlemen. Locksmith 2K here, coming at you full speed ahead with World of Warships gameplay, history, and chat. And we've got a good one for you tonight. We have the USS Texas by request, and we also have the German cruiser Admiral Graf Spee. Spee. So we'll give everyone a quick minute to jump in so you can see what we're doing, see who all's with us tonight. And then we'll get started with the Texas. Welcome aboard on Twitch. Bubba, is that you? No response. We're going to go ahead and start setting up the. It's actually the New York. The Texas was a New York class battleship, so I don't have the Texas, but I do have the New York, so we're going to take her out. Essentially the same ship. You just got to get her set up with different flags and get her ready to go out and sink ships. So this is the New York. It's the New York Texas is a New York class battleship. I don't actually have the Texas. I can show her to you here in the tech tree. She is right over there. Uh, there's really no difference between the Texas and the New York other than the hull number, and the Texas is a premium ship, whereas the New York is the ship that you earn through normal means. Funny fact, true fact, the New York, even though it's the class leader, is not first one commissioned. It was one of the rare exceptions where the Texas was actually the first one commissioned, and then the class leader, the New York, was actually commissioned later on. That does not happen very often. So we'll take a little look around the New York here to get a good look at her. I actually chose to go into the naval yard, Navy base, for this episode, just so we could get really good look at these ships, because it's kind of hard to get a good look at them sometimes when you're in the other ports. And I do thoroughly enjoy them. I like seeing the ships represented this way in dry dock. That's better. Oh yeah, that's much better. So while we're sitting here, let's go over a little bit of the facts about the Texas specifically. The Texas was commissioned in 1914. She was... Hello, Scout. Welcome aboard. The first of the New York class, as I had already stated, and last of the dreadnoughts. Now, the dreadnoughts started with the British ship HMS Dreadnought. They were the largest ships ever built, and they were built on an all-or-nothing premise. And the New York class, the Texas, was no different. They were considered dreadnought battleships. The full load displacement was 28,000 tons, 573 feet long with a 95-foot beam. It had a 29-foot draft, and the Texas actually had coal-fired boilers. And unlike ships later on that actually had oil-fired boilers, she actually had coal-fired boilers. She had 14 of them. It used 2 triple expansion steam engines that generated 28,000 shaft horsepower and gave her a top speed of about 21 knots. At the time of her commissioning, she had a crew of approximately 1,042. Her armament consisted of main battery guns were 10 14-inch 45 caliber guns. See, here we have two forward turrets. There's one midship, and then 2 aft. It had 21 5-inch 51 caliber secondary guns, which would be those critters down here, sticking out, not these up here. These up here are actually anti-aircraft guns. See there. Actually down in the sides, not actually in turrets. I believe those were what they called casement guns. You had 4 47 millimeter 40 caliber guns. List those. No, because this is actually after modernization. So 4 47 millimeter 40 caliber guns, 2 37 millimeter guns, and then she originally had 4 21-inch torpedoes. So with that little bit of info already out, let's take the Texas out and see what kind of mischief we can get into. So here we go. Looks like we have 3 objectives. We're over on A side, so we're actually going to go ahead and stick with that. We're going to go a little bit wide, seeing as how we are a battleship. We don't want to necessarily be in point-blank firing range of each other. So since our last stream, some news for you. I actually did pick up Admiral Yamamoto as a captain. So hoorah, put him on the Musashi. Here, that's a good place for him until I get the Yamato. As well as we have gotten a new update, and with the new update came some graphic improvements. As you can see here, she looks a lot cleaner, colors are a lot truer. Wargaming did a really good job.
Let's give them a hard time. Much obliged.
Right, fellow captain, let's get him.
Thank you.
So, Scout, who's that hanging out with you over there in chat? So the Texas actually went through a total of, excuse me, total of 3 refits over her lifespan, and served in 2 major conflicts, World War I and World War II. We'll touch on more of that here in a bit, as well as a little battle in Mexico. There we go. We got the Scharnhorst and the Hawkins. Scharnhorst is way out of range, but that Hawkins isn't. See if we can give him a bad hair day. And oh yeah, we found him. That made a dent. Those are going to make even bigger dents if I don't avoid them. And we have Dunkirk hiding over there. Okay. Scharnhorst, Fuso. Miss, bro. Saying. How wily you are. Hold on to those for me. Ooh. Alrighty then. Welcome aboard over in the Twitch stream. Looks like we now have 3 people watching us tonight. We have Scout, and then I'm not sure who the other 2 are, but welcome aboard. We are doing World of Warships gameplay as well as history of ships and interactive chat. So if you have anything you'd like to add to any of the history that I put out or make recommendations, I'm all ears. Guns on this thing are a little slow training around. There we go. See if those find their mark. Yeah, one of them did. Yikes. Deal with that in a minute.
Enemy cruiser sighted. Enemy battleship sighted.
That made a little bit of a dent. Yeah, that's temporary.
Enemy destroyer detected.
Wow. He is moving. Looks like he's gonna turn away. Probably doesn't want to get shot at again. Alright. Can't say that I blame him. There's that Scharnhorst. Look, he's stuck on the map edge over there. Hook him up with some shells for his folly. Couple of overpins on that. I know that destroyer's here. I really don't want to find him the hard way. Kinda wish my team would up a little. Out.
Enemy cruiser detected. Torpedoes to starboard.
Alright, as in with most battleships, it's easier to turn the ship than it is to try to turn the guns. So we're gonna see what this cruiser up here is made out of, and yeah, maybe we'll tag Dunkirk on our way back. That's what I was afraid of right there. There is that pesky little destroyer. You. Go away, get off me. Well, a couple of them hit. There's those torpedoes. Good thing so. Hey, that was not fun. We had a little technical malfunction with my keyboard. For some reason I couldn't turn.
Problem solved, sir.
There's a Fuso that hasn't even been scratched yet this game. So in 1926, they removed the torpedo tubes and installed torpedo bulges, which are a anti-torpedo device that can be filled with water to soak up the impacts from torpedoes. This increased her weight to 33,000 tons and increased her beam to 106 feet. She retained her primary armament, however, they did remove some of the 5-inch guns down to a total of 16, and they removed a couple of the 3-inch and added 8 3-inch 50 cal AA guns. They also added 2 quad mount 28 millimeter AAs in 1937 and gave her 6 oil fired boilers instead of the 14 coal fired.
The ship is on fire.
Hello, Dunkirk.
Problem solved, sir.
Awful lot of range, but maybe we'll get lucky. And making it rain. Ugh, just missed. That thing is still running around. Pop out right. Not sure how we're going to win this, but it's going to be a tough one. There's only 3 of us, and it's like 7 of them. One of which being a destroyer. Come on around here and see if we can't go after the guys that are down by sea. So unfortunately, out of range. Which brings us to our 1942 refit, where they went down to 6 5-inch 50 caliber guns, 10 3-inch 50 caliber guns, and 14 20 millimeter guns. So not a whole lot of changes, but definitely some additional AA added. This, of course, would have been after Pearl Harbor. So that would have been more likely due to the fact of what happened at What do we got? Yeah, I don't foresee us actually pulling this one off, but gave it a good shot.
The ship is on fire.
Yep, I'm the last guy, and there's no way I'm pulling this off. But, oh well. Gave it a good shot. Can always try again and see if we can do better. All right, so that was our first round, going out with the Texas. And we got through a couple of her first refits. Her last refit came in 1945, where her crew was increased to 1,800. She was given surface radar. She was the first first battleship to have surface radar. She was also given air radar. She was the first one to get that. They were also outfitted with two different fire control radars to aid the main guns, and equipped with twin 10, quad 40mm Bofors and 44 20mm Oerlikons. I do believe, yes, right here, the Oerlikons and the Bofors. These would have been in the 1945 refit, I do believe. Our Oerlikon auto cannons. There's some Bofors. All right. So the incident that I spoke of earlier with the Mexican uh, campaign was the Tampico incident, where basically she was sent down there as a show of force. Worked. Let's get her set up and let's go back out with her again and have some more fun. All right, so we're all set up and ready to go round two. So, while we're loading up here, the Texas received 5 battle stars in World War II. She was the only battleship to see action in all 3 theaters of war: Pacific, Atlantic, and Mediterranean. She also received the Mexican Service Medal, the World War I Victory Medal, the American Defense Service Medal with a device, the American Campaign Medal, the Asiatic Pacific Campaign Medal with 2 stars, the European African Middle Eastern Campaign Medal with 3 stars, the World War II Victory Medal, and Navy Occupation Service Medal with Asia clasp. That would be a fair amount of decoration. Alright, so where are we at now? Like they've got us dead center with a whole bunch of other battleships. So let's see what they want to do. Wow, no plan. Okay. So we're gonna head towards A, I think. That'll put our focus of guns towards the starboard side so we can scout B as we go. Help the guys out at A. Might go a little shallow, like about right there. Welcome aboard in the Twitch chat. We are doing World of Warships gameplay with history. 4 ships. We're doing the USS Texas and the Graf Spee. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to include them and hit that follow button while you're up there and stay with us and tune in every week. Every week we do something different. Or we do different ships, should I say. And I will take requests on those ships if anybody has one. If I have it in my inventory or I have a ship of the same class, I will gladly do some research on it, find out some good history about it, maybe a few unique things that make the ship different, and we'll put it up in the stream. Always looking for input from my viewers. Right now we are heading over towards Objective A, and we're just going to keep our guns trained across B, just so we can pick up little stuff like that.
Affirmative. Roger.
Yeah, I think they see us now. I'm actually going to peel off, and I'm going to go with Eisenhower here and help him out across B. Looks like resistance across A is relatively late, so we'll help the Eisenhower. I do like the dynamic music that they have in this game, whereas when stuff gets closer to you that's a threat, really, the music changes. It gives you that dramatic effect. It's pretty neat. Alright, gun crews, shoot them down. Or not, never mind. Welcome aboard over on Twitch. We're doing World of Warships gameplay with ship history. Doing the USS Texas and the German cruiser the Graf Spee. And I'm not going to shoot at that. I'm not going to steal someone's kill that they've worked pretty hard on. That's just not nice. I don't like it being done to me. I'm not going to do it to someone else. Okay, what is this? Pick on the Texas day? Yeah, it looks like it's going to be pick on Texas day. That's alright though. He keeps sending his planes, I'll keep shooting them down, and while I'm at it, eventually I'll figure out, there he is. Yeah, no, we're not going to do this torpedo thing, so that's not going to happen. All right. Say hello to my 14-inch friend. Smack. Back off. Some of the further service record of the Texas is her, along with a couple of other ships, conducted rescue duty from the Holland America when it went down. Oh, that was a good one. Rescuing approximately 230 passengers from the liner. In World War One, she was responsible for training gun crews that later on went on to crew merchant ships, so that the merchant ships would have the ability to defend themselves. In fact, it was one of her gun crews that was trained on her that actually fired some of the first shots in World War II in the Atlantic theater, or at least the U.S. shots. Uh, During World War II, she was part of World War One. She was part of the British Grand Fleet and did convoy and blockade duty for Her Majesty's Navy. She was also there when the Germans surrendered at the end of World War One. And escorted their ships into port. Come on, hit him. Hit him a little harder than that.
Problem solved, sir.
So let's see. Hang around here and send this guy to meet. Oh, never mind. Somebody else did it. I was about to say send that young man to see Davy Jones, but someone else took care of that problem for him. So she, in between the wars, she was mainly used as presidential transport, and then did a fair amount of escort duty for the president when he went overseas and stuff like that. This was before airplanes were a major form of long distance travel. With World War II at the start, she was part of the neutrality patrols, convoy escort as well, making sure that our all right, Scout, take it easy. Making sure that our convoys were safe and sound. Further service in World War II was Operation Torch, Operation Overlord, Battle of Cherbourg, Operation Dragoon, the Battle of Iwo Jima, and the Battle of Okinawa, and then, of course, Operation Magic Carpet. During Operation Overlord, the invasion of Normandy, D-Day, she actually had to do shore bombardment, and there was fortunately got to a point where her guns could not range where they needed them to shoot. Her captain at the time came up with an amazing idea of flooding the starboard torpedo blisters to gain elevation of the main guns. Pretty ingenious. This allowed them to actually support the troops that were further inland that were actually outside of her normal operating gun range. When she was at the Battle of Cherbourg, taking on coastal defense guns, one of the coastal defense gun shells actually penetrated through the wardroom and into an officer's stateroom, where it did not explode. The officer uh, actually found this after the battle, and the shell was later removed by EOD. And even though it wasn't disposed of, they removed the fuse and actually made it part of a museum, a private collection that later on was donated back to the ship as part of the ship's memorial duties. He was the first battleship to incorporate AA guns into her main armament. She was the first ship to list Marines with her crew. She was the first ship to become a memorial. And she also launched the career of Walter Cronkite, which for some of you who don't know who he is, may not be old enough to remember him. He was a war correspondent and a journalist. And he was actually present on the ship at D-Day. And there was a race between the Texas and the Massachusetts to get their stories back to the U.S. And the Texas wasn't as fast as the Massachusetts, but the Texas had airplanes. So when they got within aircraft range of... Oh, this is nice. When the airplanes got within range of the Norfolk, they actually launched the airplane with Mr. Cronkite on board, and his report was the first one to make the news and launched his career in journalism as a war correspondent. Ouch. That hurt. Oh, saw that coming. So as we head back to port, let's see here. We got words, and we have a container. Let's see what we got. Oh, we have two containers. Sure what this is. Let's see. Camouflage and Battleship Musashi. Oh, that collection. Okay. Show you that in just a second. Let's try our luck tonight. Of course not. Like that. Got here. Atlanta at the Battle of Guadalcanal. So in World of Warships, one of the things you do are collections, and apparently I have earned part of a collection here that I didn't even know I had. That would be the battleship Musashi, or a picture of her anyway. We actually have the Musashi. May do something with that in the near future, especially now that we have Mr. Yamamoto as a captain. And over in the American Cruiser collection, just picked up Cruiser Atlanta. Photo of her. It looks like an artist's rendition. Might be a real photo of her at the Battle of Guadalcanal. Very cool. Heading back to port. We're going to take the Texas New York here, and we're going to go back out one more time. Wrap up our history on the Texas. Maybe we'll win this time around. That would be super cool. Always use a win. Morale boost there. It looks like we'll be heading for Objective D. So we're actually going to head down probably line 8, line 9.
Let's give them a hard time.
That way we can
All forces, capture that area.
keep our guns trained
All
across
stations,
Objective
protect-
D.
I need intelligence data. I need intelligence data.
Oh boy.
Affirmative.
Somebody's going F key crazy. Alright, well there's the cruiser Atlanta. It's way too far out though.
Concentrate fire on the enemy warship.
Some of those pesky torpedo planes. Maybe my cruisers will take them out before they get too close. Welcome aboard over in Twitch chat. Got another person joining us here. We are doing USS Texas, USS New York gameplay with ship history. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to ask. I will answer anything I possibly can. And if I don't know the answer, I can definitely try to find it for you. Come on, class. Hopefully some of those made it before the mountain got in the way. Yeah, they made it, they just missed. Sadly, the Texas original commission that purchased the ship and agreed to take care of her failed to do so adequately. And through their lack of action, the state took the Texas away from them and turned it over to the Wildlife Commission and Parks, Wildlife and Parks. However, the amount of damage that done due to neglect, the parks were in a little over their head, and to this day still are. And they could really use some help, helping the ship, helping with repairs, monetarily. Repairs cost money and they take time. It's to the point now that the ship is actually considered sinking at her moorings. And it's no longer open to the public as a museum. You can actually donate to the restoration project at battleshiptexas.org, as well as you can play World of Warships and purchase the USS Texas, and all of the proceeds from that purchase will go to preservation of the ship. So coming up after this battle, we're going to shift over to the Graf Bay. Graf Bay. Bay. I always say that name wrong. I always want to say it with an S that's not there. We have a little destroyer over here. We have a cruiser that's not doing. They're both out of range. Well, they were.
All stations, defend that area. All stations, reporting the position of a strategic target.
Yeah, I need to go this way because the guys are starting to get out of my range. And looky here, we found that pesky destroyer and his torpedoes. Imagine that. Like we didn't know he was there. Just couldn't see him.
Concentrate fire on the designated target. Teammate, I need your support. All stations, reporting the position of a strategic target.
Well, there he is, and seeing as how everything else is no longer spotted.
All stations requesting fire on the designated target. On Neptune's beard. Enemy destroyer sighted. Enemy cruiser detected.
Alright, now we have a Miyoko joining the fray.
Enemy cruiser sighted. Ship is on fire.
And a Eisenhower.
Is taking the lead. Problem solved, sir. The ship is on fire.
Alright, well, I can't fight a war. I am horribly outgunned over here. We're going to try to hold A, though, for as long as we can. May get lucky, take something with us. Like that. Take what we can get. So we are going to jump over to Graf Spee. So the Graf Spee was a Deutschland class Panzerschiff, how they pronounced it, which is armored ship, or better known as a cruiser. Under the Treaty of Versailles, ships were limited to 11,000 tons. And on paper, the Graf Spee is precisely that, 11,000 tons. However, the reality is a little different. She's 16,000 tons, with a length of 610 feet, a beam of 71 feet, and a 24-foot draft. The Graf Spee was the most technologically advanced of the Deutschland's class. It actually did carry a radar. It was the only one of the class that did. And her original mission was supposed to be commerce raiding. She had 8 diesel engines, which were 9-cylinder opposed piston diesel engine that generated 53,000 shaft horsepower, giving her a top speed of about 28 knots. Graf Spee is definitely a handsome ship. It's very clean lines, very good design, good layout. We'll give the Germans credit, they did a good job with it. Having said that, let's go sink some ships with it. Now, in World of Warships, it actually comes with a unique camouflage, which is permanently mounted on the ship. For some reason, taken off. Now it's back. So, let's go have some fun. Hey. So, at commissioning, the Graf Spee had 33 officers and 586 listed personnel. Later on in 1935, it was changed to 30 officers and 1,000 personnel.
Breakthrough to the base. Affirmative.
Alright, so the Graf Spee
All stations, concentrate fire on the target.
is a cruiser, for all intensive purposes. I mean, she does not necessarily have a lot of armor. Does have a fair amount of speed though, and she packs quite a punch with her 11-inch battleship grade guns. Now this is just quite comical right here. During World War II, Exeter met the Graf Spee on the field of battle. Here we are, World of Warships, Exeter versus Graf Spee. Could not have planned that if I tried. We are getting tore up.
Attention, reporting the target position. Enemy battleship detected. Torpedoes astern. Enemy destroyer sighted. Torpedoes direct front. Enemy cruiser detected.
Alright, these odds are not very good.
Problem solved, sir. Ship is on fire.
Alright. So the armament of the Graf Spee was 6 11-inch primary guns, 8 5.9-inch secondary guns, and 8 21-inch torpedoes. The 11-inch guns on the Graf Spee were battleship caliber guns for the time. And they had to sacrifice a little bit of armor in order to place the guns on there to give her the punch the Germans wanted. Because of all this, she became known as a pocket battleship, term given to her, it, by the British Navy, are the ones who coined that term. Primary job of the Graf Spee during World War II was Commerce Raider. And during the time that it was a Commerce Raider, Captain Langsdorff, commanding officer, uh, basically ran by the prize rules. And what those mean is take what supplies you need from the enemy transport ship, and you disembark the crew prior to destroying what's left. You also seize any literature, documents, etc., that are considered important. Uh, if the crew was within decent range of rescue, they would send out a distress call so that another ship could come and pick them up. In the event that they were not and had to be retained on board Graf Spee, they were actually treated with respect and dignity due to a sailor station, as well as their captains and commanding officers, executive officers, and stuff like that were treated with the respect they deserved as commanding officers of their station, officers in general of their station. So there was also a ship that Langsdorff used to store prisoners on until they could be returned uh, country of origin after the war. All right, before we get back underway here, I'll show you some of her accolades we've been discussing. Here are those 11-inch main battery guns. These were ship caliber guns, battleship caliber guns. Very impressive for a ship her size. Have your secondary armament, which is those were the dual purpose 3-inch, I believe. And then those were the 5-inch there. And last but not least, torpedoes. Let's get back underway. Shift colors. Maybe we'll have some better luck this time. Last time I just got into focus fire, couldn't get out of it. Hmm. Wonder how those got there.
Concentrate fire on the enemy warship. Attention, reporting the target position. The ship is on fire. Good show. Anti-aircraft gun crews are on full alert.
Oops, wrong button.
Problem solved, sir. Our team has taken the lead. Anti-aircraft gun crews on normal alert.
Ow. That hurt a lot. I don't think that Queen Elizabeth was happy with me shooting torpedoes at him. I'm gonna back off just a little bit here, try to recover some HP. Get back into him. While we're doing that, despite only being used for commerce raiding, and that the crews that she always took as prisoners were always treated well, British Admiralty had had their fill of commerce raiding, losing supplies. So they instigated a massive hunt for the Graf Bay. The task force assembled to deal this problem consisted of 8 different groups. Groups were made up from 4 aircraft carriers, 1 battle cruiser, 2 battleships, and 16 light and heavy cruisers as well. That's a lot of firepower to go after one ship.
All stations, protect that target.
This massive task force caught up with the Graf at the River Plate. The Graf was engaged by the heavy cruiser Exeter, as well as the two light cruisers Ajax and Achilles. The battle lasted about an hour and a half, with the Exeter being all virtually knocked out of the fight within the first 20 minutes of battle. The light cruisers Ajax and Achilles continued to dog the Graf until basically all of the commanders kind of decided it was time to take a break and repair their ships and take care of their wounded. Graf which was still in full fighting form, despite damage, had been hit over 70 times. Captain Langsdorff took the Graf to Montevideo repairs, which was a neutral port. However, they tended to sympathize with Britain a little bit more than they did with Germany. So, due to some false reports, as well as being told if they did not get out of the port, they would be seized until the end of the war, the decision was made by German High Command and Captain Langsdorff to scuttle the Graf So the crew set about destroying anything important so that it couldn't be recovered, placing munitions around the ship to aid in the destruction, and then sail the ship out of the River Plate. Once they were out of the river and into the estuary, the charges were detonated. The crew was evacuated, the charges were detonated, and the crew taken back to Montevideo, where they were subsequently interned in Argentina for the duration of the war. Sadly, Captain Langsdorff, taking full responsibility for the loss of his ship, shot himself as a last act of defiance and honor as well. Funny side note, the gunnery officer that was on board the Graf which nearly destroyed the Exeter, became the gunnery officer on board the Bismarck and was responsible for the shells that were actually fired on the HMS Hood. And we know how that turned out. So this is the part of the stream where I start opening stuff up for questions. Questions. As well as comments or anything else you would like to throw in. So out there in our channel streams, Are there any questions about the Texas or the Graf Spee? Or about World of Warships in general? You can do that too.
On Neptune's beard.
So both of these ships are actually featured. One's featured in Naval Legends, and the other one is featured in World of Warships YouTube channel. Chieftain Talks is where the Graf Spee is featured. Really, bro? That necessary?
Support the Allied target.
Go check those out. They're actually really good. They did a great job doing the history of the Texas. They did a great job doing the Graf Spee as well. Also, another source that I've recently discovered of good information. I'm going to try to say this name correctly. Don't quote me because I'm not that great with German style names. Drachenfell, something to that effect. He does a really good job doing historical videos of warships up to World War II-ish. Doesn't really do anything after that.
Concentrate fire on the designated target.
But I've watched several of his videos. He does a good job. Check him out. Look at this Omaha ducking and weaving.
Attention. Reporting the target position. Acknowledged.
Well, there's that Omaha again. Not going well for our side of the field. That focus fire again, that's not good. So, welcome aboard over in the Twitch stream. We're doing history of the Texas, or we were doing the history of the Texas, and of the Graf Spee. And we are open for questions and comments now in our interactive chat that we have here. Alright, some of this stuff's got to go.
All stations, reporting the position of a strategic Roger.
Well, we've got some other people in chat over there, Scout. Welcome aboard to them. So close. Almost got him. He hit the repair button, darn it. That would have been epic. So, who would like to see, what would y'all like to see next week? Let me know in the comments. Let me know in the chat. What ship would we like to see? What would we like to take out? Snoop T, I know you're probably on right now. Snoop T, you got any idea what would you like to see? Give me a hint. Throw something out there. See if we earned enough this week to get in the bid. Good job, team. Scout, what ship do you want to see next week? Or ships? What do you think? About anyone else that's in the chat, what would y'all like to see next week? What ship would you like to see me do some history on? I see you, Snoop. I knew you were here. I knew it. You always got me, don't you, Bubba? What ship would you like to see next week? Let me know. Colorado. Do we have a Colorado? believe we might. That's going to be an American ship. All of our American. We do have a Colorado class. So yes, Scout, we can definitely do the Colorado battleship. I believe South Dakota class? No. Possibly? Doesn't say. Well, guess we'll find out, won't we? Waiting on the Graf Spee to get out of battle. Utah, I have actually not been able to find any way to reference the Utah in World of Warships. Unfortunately, because it was, I believe there was only 2 ships in the class, and they were kind of like minor battleships, I guess you could say. But I can definitely still do some history on it if you'd like. I'll definitely we'll do some random ship gameplay and some Utah history. While we're waiting, show you something that happened last week here. Anybody direct your attention up here to the top right hand corner of the screen, you will see Captain Yamamoto. And he is, well, actually the Admiral, but I believe here I don't think he's quite that. And he would be the new commanding officer of the battleship Musashi. Colorado. I think it. I don't know. It could be. It definitely could be. Like I said, I will definitely be finding out. And if it's not, I'll see if I can find something that is similar to it. Um, Regardless, though, I will definitely do that for you, Scout. I like the idea. There we go. The Graf Spee came home. It was a defeat, but it came home nonetheless. Alright, so let's take her out, it, out one more time. Germans usually refer to their ships as he. So far tonight, everybody seems to be gunning for the poor Graf Spee. Like, they don't want me to take her out. They don't want me to stretch her legs. Probably because they know what it'll do. In World of Warships, the Graf Spee is no slouch, to say the least. If you don't deal with it rather rapidly, it can get out of control. I was actually reading an article about the Graf Spee. Naturally, when it was scuttled, it did not sink all the way because it was in a river delta. But
Give them a hard time.
the upper parts of it, of course, were scrapped years ago. But in 2007, they actually recovered the. Can't see it now. Go back to port. I'll see if I can show it to you. There is actually an eagle and swastika on the back. It's approximately 6 feet tall, and they had deemed the wreckage to be basically a hazard to navigation. And this team went down and they pulled up some of the artifacts and stuff, and they actually pulled that eagle and swastika up. However, when they put it on display, they were told to take it down because of what it stood for. But still, it's pretty cool that they were able to recover something like that. Don't see stuff like that every day being recovered off these war heroes. Like we're gonna find ourselves with an Akatsuki destroyer to play with right off the bat. Thanks for the smoke screen there, Fubuki. I'll handle it from here. We are going to hide in smoke, launch widespread torpedoes, which are not going to be very effective, and is probably screaming on the team chat that he needs help.
Fighter airborne.
Quick shot from the hip there.
The ship is on fire. Anti-aircraft gun crew. Provide anti-aircraft fire support. Target penetrated.
That made a little dent.
The ship is on fire.
Okay, down here and spin around, see if these allies are actually going to come help us, or if they're going to hide back here in the back. As this torpedo goes by. And we ain't out of this fight yet, so there's some rounds going down range. Got an Iron Duke and a Leon. Excuse me, Devonshire, I didn't know I was in your way. Despite having battleship caliber guns, I am no match in a one-on-one slugfest with these two, so I'm hoping to close within torpedo range and throw some fish out there for them to play with. I think he's actually just in range if I throw him about right there. If any of those even hit. Well, well, well. Ow. That stung a lot. If I can't keep bow on, I have to, or he's gonna pick me apart. they got me. It happens. It happens. It happens. Good fight, though. Good fight. Alright, let's go back to port. Alrighty. We are back at port, and Scout wants to see the Utah and or the Colorado or both. So next week will be the Colorado and or the Utah. And if I can't find anything good to do on those, well, I'll find something good to do. Because that's what we do here. We do history, we do live streaming, we do gameplay, we do the chat, we do it all. So we're going to hang out for just a minute, see how that battle played out, and then we will probably be calling it an evening for now. Take a look over here. See that with some other stuff. Let's see what they got going on here with this. This is the European destroyers. Ooh. Light containers, those are always fun. Definitely gonna have to try to get some of this done. Graf Spee is still in battle. Wow. Hope we win this one. There he is. And it was a victory. Nice. Nice, nice. Way to finish the night off with a victory. We got some coal, we got some flags, we got another container. Let's go resources this time. Always use some extra coal. And ta-da! Hey, here. Have a wolf symbol. We have a duplicate of the Omaha. Flags and some coal. Let's go over to our profile for a second. And I need one more. Hey, Scout, that should look familiar to you. See what's pulled up on the screen here, Scout? Check that out. That should look pretty familiar to you. Well, specifically, storekeeper, in your case, which came into existence in 1916. I believe they have... They do not have engineman. They have machinist mate, not engineman. All right. So, I had fun tonight. I always have fun on these streams. It's lovely having everyone here. So next week, Colorado, Utah, definitely. We're gonna knock that out of the park. And hit the like, hit the subscribe, tell your friends. I know we all have friends. Tell your friends about the channel. See if they're interested in checking us out and maybe even coming on board and sailing with us. That would be like super cool. Get some more people in the clan up here. So until next week, ladies and gentlemen, this is Locksmith2K saying fair winds, following seas, and I'll keep a weather eye on the horizon for you.